Is there a middle ground between using credit responsibly and no credit?
I don't believe David Ramsey never used credit. And I understand Dave Ramsey because he's 100% right. Most people don't use credit responsibly. You know what I'm saying? I was that person at one time, right? Most
Yeah, me
people
too.
don't use credit responsibly. That's just what it is. We wouldn't have what 1.4 trillion dollars in credit card debt if
Right.
most people use credit responsibly. The whole point of managing credit responsibly is not paying interest to the bank.
That's it right there.
You don't spend more money than you have. And I know it can be hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
it can be hard because it appears that it's extra money when it isn't.
Yeah.
You look
Yeah.
at your bank account, you see what your credit limits are. You
Mm-hmm.
don't go above what you have in your bank account minus what you have a responsibility of, meaning all of your bills and anything else that you have to pay for. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
middle ground, but it's all about using credit responsibly.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to respond to that because I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so I know all about Dave Ramsey. I have done his financial freedom, and I do think that there is a middle ground. But I can tell you that I don't think if I never went through the Dave Ramsey that I would be where I'm at now, to where I have 14 credit cards. I haven't paid interest on credit cards and probably, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 or more years. But I'm one of those people to where, especially like when I was in college and even after college, like, man, I was paying for trips, That's what I'm saying. When I was in college, I had all of the retail credit cards. And so I was maxing them out. I was using credit cards all the time. But I do feel like once I had went through financial peace, the thing is, it really gets down to the psychology of, since I had to cut those credit cards, and I was one to where I really couldn't use cash, do the envelopes. So for me, I'm always going to figure out how I can do something to benefit, what I'm doing. Cause I feel like you have to figure it out for yourself. And so I ended up starting to do with my debit card. And so I just used my debit card for everything. And then it was probably maybe like a few years to where I didn't use credit cards. And then one day I was like, you know what? I actually think I can do this. And so I started using my credit cards again. And then once I did it that time, like, I don't have any problem. But me, I'm going to say I make sure to do my budget every month. Like, you got to know how much money you have coming in compared to going out. And then, I use my credit cards for pretty much everything. And then I just pay the credit card off. I think you really have to understand your why, because if we're like right now, we're at a high for interest rates. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? Like, the interest rates are so high, like, I would not want to be paying
Yeah,
30% on, stuff. Well,
yeah,
then I can be using that 30% to go on a trip. I just think that it is a balance. And you
yeah,
just kind of have to start off small, maybe to where maybe you're not using the credit cards. But, so I love his practices, but I'm going to always use credit cards
yeah.
because I like to be able to use the credit cards to go on trips and stuff like that. So just like you were saying, it doesn't mean it is free because you're using your money, but on the same hand, you're going to be spending that money anyway, but I'm not paying interest on that money, and I'm trying to get like you to where I'm getting those, business class trips and those real nice hotels, with the credit cards like you do.
And you know what? The thing, like I'm going to piggyback off what you said about the interest rate. A lot of these interest rates, I mean, they take 29, 26 to 29.99, and some of them break 30. And if you putting thousands of dollars on a credit card, it's easy for that to get out of control. 30% on a couple thousand,
Yeah.
and if you're not paying off the full amount right then, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for that to snowball into something that is gonna get out of control. And
Real
what's
quick.
gonna happen is either you go just stop paying it, or you just gonna be paying way too much for for something. So the
Mhm.
best thing is, like I say, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. You know what I mean?
Dang.
Don't put it on a credit card.
But let me ask you this, especially with interest rates so high, because I was reading an article where Bernie Sanders was saying that Trump, because he was saying during his, when he was running, that he wanted to put a cap on
Yeah,
interest rates, 10%. And I put
right.
up because another one came out. I want to say yesterday, and I was reading the article. What do you think about putting a cap on interest rates? And let us know in the comments, what do you think about putting a cap on interest rates? Whose responsibility is it? Is it, my responsibility? Is it the car issuer responsibility? What do you think?
I'm gonna tell you because I love Bernie, like I do. I love Bernie. They're not gonna put a cap on
Yeah.
it. Like these guys spend so much money lobbying politicians on both sides, right? So this is not a political thing. They lobby on both sides. These banks spend so much money doing it. They're not gonna put a cap on it. 10% would be amazing. And the reason I say, we as individuals need to be responsible. But if you think about the amount of interest that that credit card
Yeah.
issuer have, man, is like beyond what a loan sharking. You know what I mean? Like it should be illegal at this point how much they charge in interest.
When all them
So
payday
having a
loans,
cap
they
on there
still
would
be
be
high.
great, but nah, they won't do it.
Yeah, I don't think that they would do it. If they would cap, we would end up going up to three trillion, credit cards, because then people would not take the responsibility. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think that, even though I love credit cards, I don't even think I would say that they should do that.
Right.
And then let me see. Vince had another question. I work hard to get an American Express charge card to help with my um
Utilization.
utilization being under 5% and a 740 credit score. I can't understand how zero credit score would help. And so I guess he's talking more so about, Dave Ramsey. But I think, even with Dave Ramsey, he's going to say that you don't need credit to do things. So yeah,
Unless,
he's going to say you don't need to credit to do things.
I
But
mean,
because I would say, even like, when I had got my car, and I got
right.
my car with Navy Federal, and I was able to get a 2.9% interest rate. But the thing is, I still did paid it off responsibly. But even
Right.
though originally I had got it for, I want to say 5 years, the loan, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to pay it off in 3. And I ended up paying it off in a year, and I didn't even pay with the interest. I only ended up paying less than a full car payment. You see what I'm saying? So it really depends on each person. So I don't think credit is bad. I just think that we have to figure out a way. I think there's a middle ground to be able to use credit responsibly. And that's what I want my channel for us to talk about. And I feel like that's what you show on your channel, to where, like, I don't have credit card debt. I don't think you have any credit card, so we have a lot of content creators that don't have credit card debt, and we use credit. You got 40, 50 credit cards. You know what I'm saying? Way to keep track of your monthly budget. Well, check out my 2025 digital budget planner. I posted it on my Etsy shop. You can go into the description and click on the link. In the budget, you have goal setting, you have a monthly budget, a debt repayment, you have a savings tracker. So check out the 2025 digital budget planner on my Etsy shop. It's not a game, it's a